Hello, I'm Dan.
And I'm Simon.
And this is the Wikicast, a podcast where Wikipedia takes us to a random article and we talk about what we find. Simon, what are we talking about this week?
Daniel, this week we're talking about Hamilton Island Golf Club.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've been to Hamilton Island, I think.
Are you thinking of the Hamilton Island in Queensland?
Possibly.
Then you have visited this exact place.
But now I come to think of it, I'm not thinking of that island. I'm thinking of another island off the coast of Australia. Very much the south coast, though, so never mind.
Dan's brain, it should be pointed out, is not quite with us today.
No.
The reason for that is because football is coming home.
The football is very much coming home. To provide a bit of context to the readers, we watched the semi-final of the football last night, and it was terribly exciting, and the timings of the semi-final also coincided with the end of the academic term for Exeter Cathedral and the Cathedral School. So there were celebrations, many and varied, last night.
Yes.
And as a result, I got home in the early hours of the morning. And if anyone's wondering why I sound particularly bassy to get today, that's why. I literally rolled out of bed about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, I called Dan at our pre-agreed time, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, I'm still in bed.
Yeah.
Like, could we do past? And then you sent me a text like 15 minutes later being like, right, I'm up, I've showered, I've dressed, I'm making a tea.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, some of those are necessary, but like, you don't need to be dressed to do this podcast, Dan. I've definitely recorded Wikicast naked.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be completely honest with you.
I think there's a time and place for it, but given my current state of just comical lethargy, I think anything I can do to convince my body that, you know, you're a professional here, you know, you're doing the podcast, let's start the day as we mean to go on.
That is a cracking band name, Comical Lethargy.
Yeah.
All of your songs are really slow tempo.
Yeah.
I could totally get on board with that as like a Spinal Tap style name. Yeah, so we are currently recording this after the semi-final. So I have been on the record. I have said that we would sneak past Denmark and we would get absolutely spanked by Italy in the final. This episode will come out after the final has taken place. So we will have to see if I'm right or not. But that was me. I said that. I think it was at the quarterfinal against Ukraine that I said that.
Yeah.
But you know, I am not personally. I think that's just because of me. I'm quite pessimistic about England generally.
Yes.
But not just in football, just in general. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win this. But it's very exciting. The semi-final was quite something to watch.
It was. I mean, aside from that absolutely dreadful penalty that ended up being our saving grace.
Yeah, it's a weird one, really, because like I agree that it was pretty borderline that it was a penalty. But at the same time, I think the final scoreline did reflect the match. Like, we had 3 penalty appeals, and I think one of them was actually stronger than the one that they gave a penalty for. And frankly, like, England were so dominant when you look at the statistics in terms of possession and shots and, you know, just generally watching the match, you could tell they had the upper hand. And it was, I think 2-1 is a pretty representative scoreline. It is a shame that it had to come through that penalty, which on balance, I'm not a football expert. I still think is a penalty, but I'm sure that everybody outside of England probably disagrees with that.
Yes, yeah. I think no one's kidding themselves at the fact the penalty was awarded. I think most of the England supporters were going, yeah, we'll have that, that's fine.
Yep, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. But anyway, we should probably try and contain the football talk because this isn't a football podcast and we are not sporty lads.
No,
although hopefully before too long we will be sporty lads. We'll be able to actually go and film some stuff. We did have a date in the diary now for you to come up and visit me.
Indeed.
And do some filming. So fingers crossed, we'll actually get some Spongy and Electric content ready now that we're allowed to see each other again because the court order's now worn off.
Yes.
Nothing to do with the pandemic.
No.
And yeah, I'm really looking forward to us enacting these plans of playing things like horseball and going to festivals and yeah, really, really keen, really keen. But I have an article in front of me, Dan. And well, would you like to learn about Hamilton Island Golf Club?
I'd absolutely love to.
So for context, Hamilton Island is in Queensland, about a boatload of miles north of Brisbane
Mm-hmm.
and a boatload of miles south of Cairns. Does that narrow it down?
Yes, it does. I've been to Cairns.
Okay. It's so Hamilton Island looks really nice. It looks kind of, well, tropical, basically. I mean, it kind of looks like your typical picture of Australia. It's like lovely seas, lovely beaches, nice and warm. And it's within Whitsunday Islands. 74 continental islands of various sizes off the central coast of Queensland, Australia, approximately 900 kilometres north of Brisbane. Oh, what a weird name, Whitsunday. And the term is a misnomer, as it's based on Captain Cook's date for the naming of Whitsunday Passage, or as he spelled it in his journal, Whitsunday's Passage. Based on his journal date, Cook believed the passage was discovered on Whitsunday, the Sunday of the Feast of Whitsun, Pentecost.
Yes.
Never heard of Whitsun before.
Yeah, I mean, it's occasionally called Whitsun instead of Pentecost at Exeter Cathedral.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, never heard that term before. So that's where Whitsunday Island gets their names from. And the golf club is located on... Oh, it's not even on Hamilton Island. The whole thing is a lie. It's on neighbouring Dent Island.
Is this another article where we're just going to start to unpick it and find that it's completely untrue?
Well, I mean, golf is an unnecessary sport, let's be real. I can't tell if that was a laugh or a sneeze.
That was an enormous blowing of the nose. I did. I was hoping that you wouldn't draw attention to it, and I actually muted my recording microphone. So as you were talking away, I could have done a little subtle thing there. But what will happen is in my audio, there'll be a period of silence, and you just going, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah, Fergus, could you add in a sound effect in retrospect, please? Make it sound like it's something between a laugh and a sneeze. Whoa! Cheers, mate. So yeah, basically, yeah, golf is an unnecessary sport, and this article is, well, it's all a lie. It's not actually on Hamilton Island. It's literally the first two words of the name. It's on Dent Island.
Have you played golf?
I was expecting a qualifier there. Have you played golf? And then just left it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played golf. I've not.
Have you played proper golf though?
No, I've not played proper golf. I've played a fair bit of pitch and putt.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I can see the appeal, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like, have you played it?
I have, yeah. I used to play on Wednesday afternoons, I think, for school.
Your school had a golf team?
I think so. Or it might have been something to do with my IB, like you've got to do a load of like extracurricular stuff as a kind of constituent part of your award. So you've got like creativity, you've got your CAS work, which is Creativity Action Service, and you've got to log a certain number of, I think it's like 50 hours each of things that do that. So I used to volunteer at a charity shop for the service aspect, and then my action, I think, was in the first year I was doing rock climbing, and then the second was maybe golf or something like that. Anyway, it was a school thing.
I can imagine you doing rock climbing. We've never done that together, but
Yeah.
I can totally imagine you scurrying up like a spider because
Yeah.
you've got so little mass on your bones.
That's the thing.
You know, you just fly up the rock face.
Yeah, it helps.
Be
that
terrifying.
I'm more or less. I sort of act like helium. If I just stand near a rock face, I start to ascend without me doing anything. I actually have to wear weighted shoes to make it a challenge.
It's just that layer of Van der Waals force
Yeah.
attracting you to the wall. That's how small we're talking. Okay. So you did rock climbing and then you did golf. I mean,
Yeah.
what did you enjoy golf?
I did. I mean, I think it helped, obviously, because I was doing this in Australia. The weather was always very, very nice, and you just get to you have a leisurely stroll around quite an attractive looking golf course.
But you have to wear your hat. No hat, no play. I remember that.
Oh, absolutely. We also had slip, slop, slap.
Just the old. Is that your version of slap and tickle?
Yeah, slip, slop, slap. That was
Gave her the old slip, slop, slap.
The big thing that they used to chant. The teacher used to chant at you to make sure that you put your sun cream on.
Right. Okay.
No hat, no play, and slip, slop, slap.
Such a horrible phrase.
Yeah, it's vile, isn't it? Maybe we should go golfing. I think we should go golfing.
I mean, I hate to bring it down to the level of pitch and putt, but that is one of my favourite things to do in the world because everybody does it so infrequently that you are invariably terrible.
Yes.
But like you're terrible in a way that is just somehow funny. Like you'll be like, right, I just got to get it over to the green, and you'll hit the ball and absolutely spoon it at like a 60-degree angle.
Yes.
And you're like, all right, lads, I'll be down with you in a minute, and then you just hear like thwacking. You're like, all right, that's one stroke, two. 3
Yeah.
goes over the green.
Yeah.
Like it's one of my favorite things. We should totally do that. I think there is a course in Bath that's still open, actually. So I would be totally up for that, and I bet you a cabin boy Adam would be very keen to come with and like help out with production.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, we should totally do that.
We'll make a day of it.
Yes, definitely. We'd have to dress up.
Oh, for sure.
+4s, the socks.
Absolutely. Bright coloured hats.
You son of a bitch, I'm in. So yeah, basically, golf. The reason I say it's an unnecessary sport is simply because often you'll find golf courses in locations. A lot of the time, it's in like America. In the UK, it's not quite so bad. But in order to maintain a golf course, requires such intense land management. Like you need so much water, and you're constantly preening this environment that's not designed ultimately for nature. It's designed for human fancy. It's designed for a sport, and so you like. I actually have a friend who works for a golf course just outside Bath, like a full fat one, who's won some conservation awards because they, with the land they have, like to improve habitats and offer places for species. I think like owls in particular he works with to roost. So like there are benefits to it. I'm not saying there aren't, but especially in places like when you see golf courses in places like Nevada, you're like, really? Like this is such a waste of water.
Yeah.
But looking at Hamilton Island Golf Club, it looks quite similar to the UK in that it's actually probably like not that as intensive to maintain.
Yeah.
But it does look lovely. Got to say, there's a picture of the 16th hole.
What, just the hole?
Well, the hole is in there somewhere.
Because surely it will look similar to all the others.
I've got to say, actually, that looks like there's 2 kind of gun emplacements that have had their guns removed, almost. Like, it's very dramatic. Like, there's a golf hole there's a bunker right before the green, and it's on an escarpment. And then you have, like, a cliff going down into the sea, and you have a view of all these other islands. It's very beautiful, actually.
Nice.
But it's a golf course. It's set amongst, quote, spectacular hills and escarpments overlooking the waterways of the Whitsunday Islands. Opened in 2009, its par is 72.
Right.
It also seems to give the number of trees on every hole. a statistic that I never thought I wanted. And you know what? I was right. I don't need to know that there are 5,678 pandanus on the course.
Of course there is.
And there are 359 of them specifically on the 13th hole. Like, what? Why do I need this information?
No.
It comes from their scorecard. Like, it's actually, they're so proud of their trees, Dan, they put the number of trees on their scorecard. Wait, hang on. No. This isn't right. Why are they giving meters? Is this the total number of meters of tree?
Meters of tree?
Well, it says Hoop Pine, hole 1, 369 meters.
Right. Is that the hole at its longest point, like the longest possible drive?
I don't know, because it says like Hoop Pine, 369 meters, Pandanas, 344 meters, and Grass Tree, 309 meters.
Well, I mean, I'm lost.
Yeah, I have no idea.
This is exactly why we need to go golfing, Simon.
You'd think it would be the distance to the hole. Maybe it's from different teeing off points. Like, are there slightly easier courses, like, with fewer bunkers in the way or something? Weird. I mean, yeah, I'm out of my depth here. Most of my golf knowledge comes from Wii Golf and from Hat Films playing golfing games.
Yeah.
Did you see their most recent one, actually? This might be of interest to the readership.
No, I don't think I did.
So they played, it was the most recent PGA game. So your normal golfing game where you get to the hole in as few strokes as possible and it all looks very nice and there's nice little golf clap like sound effects as you putt.
Sure.
Except there's also a battle royale mode.
Right.
And the way this works is it doesn't matter how many shots you take to get to the hole. You've just got to be in the if there are 18 people to begin with, you've got to be one of the first 15 people to get it in the hole.
So speed is the name of the game.
Speed is the name of the game, and then the number of slots that you can use to get in decreases with each hole. So by the time with the final hole, there's only one spot available, and there are 2 golfers.
Yeah.
And it's intense. I've never seen golf this intense before. Like, it's quite something.
I like the idea of this.
Yeah, it really worked, actually. Well, they played two things recently. They had Battle Royale modes that were actually surprisingly fun. There was that, and they also played, funnily enough, what we were talking about before we started recording, Worms. The latest Worms game had like a Battle Royale mode where you are a team of worms and you control an individual one. You're on a 2D, classic Worms map, and you have to find weapons to pick up, but they're like the sheep and the bazooka and the granny. And yeah, it really worked. It looked really fun. I just thought that Battle Royales might have been a bit over and done with at this point because everybody just got a bit sick of PUBG and a bit sick of Fortnite, even though Fortnite is still absolutely huge.
Yeah.
But it's still life in the old girl.
Huh.
What game would you think would be improved by having a Battle Royale mode? What if you were to design one?
Ooh.
What would you add Battle Royale to?
Geez, maybe something like Polo.
Battle Royale Polo.
Yeah.
So, in what way is the Battle Royale? Is it the knockout? Is it the shrinking map that you have to play on?
Yeah, I think maybe. I mean, this is obviously completely unethical, but if
I'm on board already.
If the map was shrinking, and it gets to a point when there's only a certain amount of room for a certain number of horses, and the horses and their riders just start having to kind of teeter off the edge of whatever it is you're playing on. I think that would be quite good. If I'm honest, I haven't thought through which element of the Battle Royale would be funny, but I think if there's horses involved, inevitably there's going to be something ridiculous going on.
I was wondering about maybe something like a Mario platformer.
Ooh, yeah.
And you are on like a rolling road type thing with like the maps that they would play on Game Grumps sometimes. Where there's like just fire or spikes or something that comes up behind them.
Yes.
And you all start with like 100 people, and it gets faster and faster, which is, I guess, the equivalent on a platforming game of the map shrinking, and then you just keep going until there's one person standing.
Or what if you did something like an endurance swimming thing in a swimming pool, and you score points by the number of completed lengths that you can do, but they start draining the pool.
So, that went a different direction from where I thought you were going to go.
No, so basically, the quicker you are at completing laps at the beginning, the more likely you are to win, because you'll reach a point where there's no longer enough water to actually swim.
Or you specialize in a really like shallow stroke.
Yes.
You're like a frog, like breaststroke, but you are perfect, like a water skater.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
You're held up by surface tension of the water. I was expecting some kind of drowning mechanism, Dan, but that's a much better idea.
Some drowning mechanism.
Yeah, you're just like, you keep going until people stop drowning. That's it. That's the swimming as a battle royale. Or what about if you did diving, but you're diving off such a high board that you have to aggressively push people off the trajectory.
Yeah.
So you're trying to do complicated dive maneuvers, and other people are like tackling you and jostling for position. I mean, frankly, why have the Olympic Committee not got in touch?
Yeah, I mean, in the news this morning, I did hear that Japan had declared a state of emergency with coronavirus and the forthcoming Olympics. But I think what it really is they've suddenly realised that they've missed out a load of new events that need to be added to the games immediately.
Yes, absolutely.
What would we call that swimming game?
Because
I feel like it needs to have a really silly...
Yeah, it has to have a pun-based name.
Either a pun-based name or something that's just so ridiculous it could be a piece of IKEA furniture.
What?
So something like... I don't know. Skimp.
Plughole Panic.
Yeah, Plughole Panic. 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, because actually, if it's a plug hole, extra, warning. Ooh, oh, Dan, okay, here's my pitch.
Right.
What if you had a giant plug hole in the middle of the pool, so there is a vortex that's forming in the middle of the pool, but the middle of the pool is also narrower, like the length is shorter than the edges of the pool. So you can be daring and go through the whirlpool, and you will be far. You have to cover less distance, but there's the chance that you get, there's a chance you get sucked down into the plug hole.
I like this. This is good. Can we also specify that the swimming pool itself needs to resemble a bath in the sense of it's got to be a bubble bath pool,
Oh yeah, of
They'll be
course.
swimming through bubbles, and there's going to be numerous sized rubber ducks throughout the course.
They're released at random points.
Yes, and some of them are actually real ducks. And you don't know. We're going to breed we're going to breed a new species of duck that actually like perfectly resembles a rubber one.
Yes, it stays perfectly still until touched.
Until touched.
This is getting Hunger Games level now.
Yeah. Well, perhaps we could do a partnership with the John Rutter Memorial Home for Injured Swans and take some of the. They probably take ducks as well, don't they?
Oh God! Could you imagine swimming with swans?
It'd be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
I was walking down by the quay the other day over to Double Locks, which is a very nice pub, about 25-minute walk out of Exeter, along the river, and there was a couple canoeing, and they eyed up a swan in the distance, and were thinking like, right, how are we going to do this? Because I think this swan had goslings around or something, and this swan like clocked them at a range of, I don't know, 30 meters and just made a beeline for them and started really having a go, like trying to get in.
Yeah.
And they were having to use their kind of paddles and things as rudimentary defense. It was terrifying, but quite fun to watch.
Well, there was a swan in Cambridge that was given an ASBO because it kept attacking boats.
Oh, wow.
As in, like eights, rowing boats.
Yeah.
There was like the legend of ASBO swan.
Gosh.
Like,
terrifying.
They're amazing creatures, but good God, I would not want to be in the water with them. They're scary enough on land, but getting in the water, they're on home turf.
Indeed.
So if we put them in the swimming pool, you have to choose. Do you choose the path of the vortex or the path of the feather? Your arm will be broken by the swans.
I actually can't think of anything more terrifying.
Yeah, it's like having a velociraptor just chilling in the pool, really. Do we like increase the number of swans as the game goes on? So do you have the choice of retiring, before the end? You're just like, that's how many lengths I'm going to get done. That's as many as I'm willing to risk.
You could. I mean, we could increase the number of swans, or the swans that are added are increasingly ill-tempered. So as the game goes on, you get really, really quite kind of psychopathic.
And we need a swan wrangler. We need someone whose job it is like Chris Pratt in Jurassic World.
Yeah.
It gets the swans. Go on, Bluey!
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why. This has to happen.
Yeah, but sorry. The way that you phrased that was, I don't see why this has to happen. But no, Dan.
I think
this absolutely does.
Yeah.
We need to get in touch with someone to build a custom pool that is like shaped so that it's narrow in the middle and wide on the wings, and has a giant plug hole in it. And Wikicast readers, some of you will die in this. Spoiler alert, if you're listening to this podcast, you've been entered into the competition.
But what a glorious death it would be.
It's a sacrifice we're willing to make, frankly.
Absolutely. Well, we're effectively wanting to bring back some kind of Colosseum-style games.
Yeah.
And what we do is we sit up high on like two lifeguards kind of viewing chairs. And throughout the course of the game, just using our thumbs, much like an emperor would, up and down to maybe like increase the aggressiveness of the swan, maybe up the thickness of the bubble formula that we're using, increase the vortex speed.
I love the idea that we have like a giant like lever. It's like 2 meters tall with a big ball on the end, and that's how we control the thickness of the bubbles. A bit like a kind of get your own back style situation.
Yeah.
Where and if the swans catch somebody, if there's a swan on each arm, rock them in place, and we have to give the thumbs up or thumb down about whether they go in the plug hole like a Bond villain.
We should be locked up. We really should.
Yes, I think. Well, okay. Before we commit any more verbal war crimes, Dan, I think it's time that we go over to your choral piece of the week.
And this will be my piece of the week. Drum roll, please. Now, we said that we wouldn't talk too much about the football.
Is your choral piece of the week? It's coming home.
It absolutely is. Baddiel, Skinner, and the Baddiel, Skinner, and the Lightning Seeds. 3 Lions. Football's coming home. That is my choral piece of the week. It's not a choral piece.
There must be a choral arrangement of it.
I'm
Surely.
sure there is. But what I wanted to do, actually, I think this would be kind of like a fun thing, is I want to encourage any of our readers who happen to be musicians. I would like you to send in some form of, it doesn't have to be a video, it could just be the audio, of you playing along to the Three Lions, Football's Coming Home kind of melody on whatever instrument that you might be proficient at, or indeed
The
maybe,
weirder the better.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly,
and then
weird instruments, please.
If you play along to the recording, what we could do is we could compile the Wikicast orchestra of everybody playing it, and I think it would be quite funny.
We don't bother to put out like a tempo track. It's just all tempos, all different keys, overlaid on top of one another.
We could do that.
No, I think it's what we deserve. I don't think we deserve a consistent tempo and key.
Fair enough. So yes, my choral piece of the week, Three Lions by Badil Skinner and the Lightning Seeds, and this is a public service announcement to those listeners of the Wikicast.
And again, this podcast is coming out after the final, at which point football has probably not come home. But if it has, what a celebration this will be.
Exactly. This is history in the making.
Oh, this is going to be one of those shows, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we find ourselves in this cavalcade of chaos in Critics' Corner. And I had a couple of things to review, Dan.
Sure.
That are not football. We're banning football discussion from this corner.
Yes.
Okay. The first thing I wanted to talk about was, I don't know if you can hear a difference in my audio.
Maybe I can.
So basically, this past week, I went around and put up a whole load of acoustic panels in my office.
Oh, wow.
So I've got these things that are sort of like ridges. They look like giant ridged crisps that I've put up in a checkerboard kind of pattern.
Crinkle cut.
Yeah, giant crinkle cut crisps. Crinkle cut. God, that's actually giant crinkle cut crisps that I've put up in a pattern, and they basically cover one whole wall and a little bit off to the right of me. On my waveform, it looks very different.
Interesting.
I think listening back to recordings that I've made so far, because I basically did it to try and improve the quality of videos, video, audio. It does seem to have made a difference.
Yeah, I think now that you've said it, actually, I can't even through this Discord call, I can hear a difference.
Like less echo. Yeah. So my review of that is it was surprisingly easy to implement, and like I think it does make a big difference. But a little tip: if anybody wants to do this at home, if you are thinking of now, if you think I was about to do a Greatest Generation bit, and I realised that it just doesn't work because we're not American. But if you're thinking of putting up some acoustic panels yourself, then you're going to have some problems with command strips not sticking to the back of the foam, which is what they're made of. So what I did was PVA glue a whole load of paper tabs, just like printer paper, and put them in the corners of the foam. When the PVA dried, then use command strips to attach the paper to the wall. And not a single one has fallen off. It's completely non-destructive to the wall.
I was really hoping, as you said that, every single one fell off on command.
Yeah, it's like the end of the Blues Brothers when the car just falls apart. But yeah, I've been that's worked really well for me, and I would recommend if anybody's thinking of upgrading their space. It was very easy to do, and I got I don't even know how many tiles this was now. Actually, I think it was about 60 tiles, and I think that was like 50 quid maybe on Amazon. You can get them cheaper elsewhere, I know, but these ones are fine. Yeah. And I didn't have the patience to make them myself. So there we go. That's my review of that. Before I dive in with anything else, do you have anything you'd like to review, Dan?
Well, I mentioned in the last episode that I was...
The last episode?
Episode, yeah. I don't quite know what's going on here. I'm just trying to power through
Random
this.
syllables are going to go off.
Yeah. I mentioned Loki and that I wanted to watch it.
Yes!
I have since watched the first 4 episodes, and I can confirm it's very, very good.
Yeah, I am one ahead of you then. I've watched episode 5, which is bonkers.
I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, I really didn't get into WandaVision at all.
Really?
Yeah, but Loki, on the other hand, wowee! I'm really enjoying it. I adore the aesthetic of the
TVA.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's very fine.
It has that combination of intriguing story, I think.
Yes.
Like the characters are, I mean, there's not a huge amount of character development, let's be real. Owen Wilson is playing himself. Loki is just Loki. And another character who
Owen Wilson only ever plays himself
yeah,
in like every film that he's in.
I just want to ride a jet ski.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
yeah, wow. He actually at one point in the show, I'm pretty sure he says now, but it must be a reference.
Yeah.
Like, no way it's not. But yeah, like the characters are fine. Good God, include that one, Fergus.
No, I've muted my audio again. So
Put an elephant call in then.
Yeah.
That was a lot in my ears that just happened.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah, the characters aren't necessarily that interesting or developed, but like the aesthetic is good. I think the music's pretty good as well, actually, and just generally the production is really quite impressive.
Yeah.
I think. Did you notice that Tom Hiddleston is an executive producer on it?
No, I didn't see that. Though it makes sense.
Yeah, like this is a project that you can tell he's really into. Like he's having a whale of a time.
Yeah.
On the show, but that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. Actually, was Loki. I've really enjoyed having a triple A show to watch because like I've been watching some Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, but like it is a bit old and tired, and it is quite nice to have something to watch. You know, every week to look forward to. So there's only one episode left now, actually. So I'm going to be a bit sad when it's over.
And then there is, of course, the new season of Rick and Morty,
which I haven't seen. I'm not that fussed, to be honest.
I like it very much, and the first episode of the new season features you're introduced to Rick's nemesis.
Oh, okay.
And people are like, "Who is this?" And Rick's like, "Oh, he's my nemesis. My what? He's my nemesis. All right, I know it's silly. He's my nemesis." And it's this chap called Mr. Nimbus, and he's a very camp, theatrical sort of Aquaman figure. He controls the police, as in he can kind of control their minds and
right.
it's like for no apparent reason, you know, Rick's throwaway line will be, "Oh yeah, he controls the police." Okay, right, fine. And he travels everywhere on a sort of sleigh pulled by giant octopus, and it's just really silly, but it's quite good.
Okay, I did go off Rick and Morty a bit. I just feel like I don't know. I think partly because it became such a meme.
Yes, it's so self-aware.
Yeah, but and people you've got to have such a high IQ to understand Rick and Morty. You know, you've got to understand some quantum theory and shut up.
Yeah.
Like it's become such a to use a phrase I absolutely detest, it has become quite a virtue signal-y kind of show. Like you watch it as a nerd to be a smart nerd, you know, like smart pop culture person. I just can't stand that. No. But I need to give it, I need to let it stand on its own 2 feet and give it an honest chance, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's some really interesting character development going on that they haven't really done before.
Oh, okay.
It's quite a lot more kind of hard hitting and thematically, I think, more emotionally mature, perhaps.
Because, like, you know, originally there was a lot of dark stuff in Rick and Morty. There's the episode where Rick, they kill their. They go into an alternate reality because they screw over their own ones so much. They go into an alternate reality, find that they are dead, bury their bodies, and just take their places and carry on as if nothing's happened.
Yeah.
And there's like "Look On Down from the Bridge" playing in the background. It's like super dark.
Yeah.
So I'd like if it's a return to that kind of thing. Yeah, I'd be up for that. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to mention was actually another thing which we mentioned in a previous episode was The Death of Stalin. I actually went and watched it last week.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I went to my sofa to watch it.
I went to watch it.
God, that was wishful thinking. I cannot wait to go to the cinema.
Yeah, I know.
And feel safe about it, like because I know I can technically go now, but A, there's nothing really I want to watch, and B, cases are exploding in the UK. Just because the government says it's okay to go out doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Yeah,
and it's the influx of folk come the 19th is going to be terrifying.
Yeah. This is what happens when you have the health secretary that worships Ayn Rand and whose priority isn't actually health, it's the economy.
It's odd, isn't it?
I hate this government. I really, really do. There are so few people in this world that I hate, but I have a real hard time showing compassion towards senior Tories at this point.
Yeah. Did you know that Sajid Javid is a University of Exeter alumnus?
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, so's J.K. Rowling, and you know.
Well, yes, and we've been there and done that.
But anyway, going back to happier things, the death of Stalin. Really enjoyed it. I honestly thought it was great. It's a little bit. I was a little bit let down in a weird way when I went and researched the events after the film. I don't know if you do this when you watch like a historical biopic, and you'll like
You had
learn.
to, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
You just had to. You knew exactly what you were doing. You even took a little pause to go, I'm really going to needle him here.
I'm just going to take a little sip of water. If you ever watch a biopic, and you know, you research the actual events, and you're like, oh, the film got a lot of this wrong. But I know that with Death of Stalin, that was deliberate. Like they deliberately chose to sort of stylize it, but it captured, as Iannucci said, like it captured the feeling of what it was like to be around then.
Yes.
Plus, it's really funny. Like, if people haven't seen The Death of Stalin, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, Jason Isaac's performance is particularly fine.
I'm smiling, but I'm really furious.
Yeah.
He's so good. And, like, I mean, the whole, like, there are so many bleakly funny moments in it. Like, when they're trying to follow Stalin's coffin in the back of the truck, and they all the cars leave at once to try and be seen as the first one behind.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'll get out and put my hat over my heart. And then I'll run back into the car and try and get like really, really funny, really good film. To be honest, like Pixel Girl is away for another week and a bit now before she moves in with me. I quite like to, if I have a chance to in the evenings, because now I'm not streaming in the evenings, most evenings anyway, actually watch a few more films because I've fallen out of the habit and I really like films. I'd like to watch them, you know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, if anyone has any recommendations of stuff that you think I might like, do send us in some emails to spongyelectric@gmail.com, because I would genuinely like to get some recommendations from the readership, and I'm sure that you'll have some very good ideas.
Absolutely. And the last thing I will mention as far as Critics' Corner goes is I rewatched Schindler's List yesterday.
Oh, boy, how are you feeling?
Just to keep the tone light.
Yesterday was a real roller coaster for you emotionally, wasn't it?
It was a big day. It was a big day. Yeah, wow, what a film.
Spielberg's student film, technically, which is just such a baller move.
I sent a message to Barney, our esteemed guest that we had a few episodes ago, asking whether he'd considered doing a video essay on the music of Schindler's List, because it is so powerful.
Yeah, because just to contextualize that, Barney is just about to hit 100,000 subscribers like super quickly.
Yeah.
And so he was asking for ideas what he could do, and there was the duality of man in that you were like, could you talk about Schindler's List, because I just watched it and the music's really powerful, and I was like, what is your favorite score and why is it Chicken Run?
Yeah.
Like, I want to see both those videos, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. It's just, and I also think, you know, John Williams' scores are, you know, always met with critical acclaim, but Schindler's List often doesn't make it high up in the list, ironically. I think his kind of more well-known sort of more either very, very orchestral, big, kind of more kind of operatic things, or stuff that is kind of reminiscent of kind of like the Copeland-esque American sound, you know.
Yeah, Copeland is a huge influence on his sound for sure.
Yes, yeah. Copeland sort of gave America its musical identity. I was listening to it, and there's just moments of such staggering power behind what that score can do, and then the performances in it are just remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because so much of Williams's music is he has a wide range of inspiration. You know, if you listen to Star Wars, it's basically The Rite of Spring, and Copeland, as we've already said. But another one is Korngold, who wrote the really bombastic stuff for like the Errol Flynn Robin Hood, and you know you can hear that in his music as well. I don't know where the really introspective sound, because it's so deeply tragic and it is so introspective, I think is probably the right word, his score for Schindler's List. I'd be interested to know what his influences were for that, if he's spoken about it anywhere.
Yeah, I think there's something, one of the pieces that's sung by a children's choir is based on a folk song that Spielberg's mother or grandmother used to sing.
Of course, because he's of Jewish heritage, isn't he? Yeah.
Something like that. But I think if you did some digging, you'd find some really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah. Well, but that involves research, Dan.
It does.
It does. We don't do that here in the Wikicast.
Absolutely
the
not.
podcast about Wikipedia articles. And we find ourselves in Patreon Corner. That's right, it's your chance to support us at patreon.com/the Wikicast. I thought I'd come out of the gate with like a real salesman kind of attitude for some reason. I don't know why.
The energy.
I think it's because I just watched Jazza on YouTube, who's this great Aussie artist who's like really good at that kind of like, and now it's your time to buy one of these pieces of art kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, patreon.com/the Wikicast is the reason that we can do this show. It's what pays our wonderful editor Fergus, it's what pays for our hosting, and in the very near future, it's going to be paying for some filming. Potentially, I really hope we do it now, us playing a round of golf and filming it, because I feel like that would be one of the funniest things we could possibly do.
Absolutely. And one of the things, actually, in speaking of where all the good these donations and support goes, there is something that we need to ask those of you who support us on Patreon.
Yes.
As we are rapidly approaching the frankly terrifying landmark of our 100th episode.
You know what, Dan? Just leave that qualifier as teaser. We will put a post out on the Patreon.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what that is in relation to, you'd have to join the Patreon and become a supporter. But we'd like your input on a certain something.
Yes.
Woo!
What a teaser.
What a tease. If you do support us on the Patreon, you can choose to be a team cat or team dog for $1 a month, which is the price of a soft beverage. Or you can be a top cat or a top dog by supporting at $5 a month, and you get to pick a side of which is the superior household pet. I would, at this point, bring in Jasmine as a prop, but she is asleep on my bed. So I would like to thank all the people who have decided to support at the top cat level, and there are so many of you, goodness gracious me. Thank you very much to Jerry Moore, Nathan Flaherty, Ultra Piggy 123, 123, 123. Please tell me you know what I'm specifically referring to there.
I'm not, but that was actually one of the most terrifying things I've ever heard.
It's the reconstruction of a Neanderthal's voice box. They get this voice actor to like gradually add features to it. So he starts out being 1, 2, 3, and then by the end of it, he's like 1, 2, 3. But then somebody's paired that with Chandelier by Sia. It's one of the funniest things. Fergus, please put a clip in here.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3. Turn back till I lose God.
That is so scary. I don't know whether it's me in my slightly fragile state this morning, but I kind of sort of jumped in my chair when you started that out of nowhere.
One day, Dan, I'm going to kick your door in and just be like, 1, 2, 3, yeah!
Gosh. Oh, I wasn't ready for that. My poor heart.
Anyway, thanks to Ultra Piggy 1, 2, 3 for giving us so much, for giving us $5 a month. Thank you to Violet Hatch, Abu El Ella, the physics boy, Simon P, Jack Easton, you're right there, mate, Izzy Christie,
I'm scared.
Nafi Iftikhar, Christopher Betterton, Dame Valerie III, Layla Medina, Oliver Craigie, Will Janice Humphreys, Rents Kirk, Oliver Burkhart, Omar Miranda, Cole Mansfield, Princess Andromeda, Chaka Cat, Bendon, Isabel Ostrowski, Matt Maguire, and Daniel Hanvey.
And I would like to say an enormous thank you. I'd like to say an enormous thank you to our top dogs, and I can see that we've got a new top dog here, and it's the lovely Sam Harvey, who wrote us that brilliant law email last episode. So thank you so much, Sam, for joining these esteemed ranks of top dogs. So thank you to Sam Harvey, Elsbeth, Ben Caples, Josh Chiaga, Henry VII, King of England and of France, Lord of Ireland, Aaron Carey Augustin, Adrian Chan, Naf Laroche, Hasse Hansen, Aaron Jorgensen, Lexi at Front Desk, Eve Sharples, Alistair Fortune, Peter Reed, Maggie, Colin J. Brown, Codzo, Ben McMurtry, Jay Wright, and Eric Bolliger. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. No, we could just cut. Sorry, that was I was trying to find the Sear clip, and I felt like I had to fill dead air. But just cut that, Fergus.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Oh.
Thank you, guys. Actually, no. F you. That's it.
That was like an Aaron Hansen kind of. Top lad. So we have found ourselves in correspondence corner, and we've got one email to read out today. Partly that's because we've been recording for a little while, and partly because we've slightly bunched up when we're recording these. So do send us your emails and your thoughts on the show at spongyelectric@gmail.com. For now, we're going to close out the show with a lovely email here from Nina. Nina writes, subject: unusual sport, Nina archery. Now, I imagine that means that they are called Nina and they do archery, or perhaps there is something called Nina archery.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, dear Dr. Clark and Mr. Moore, as a long-time reader and first-time writer, I thought I'd drop an email about my unusual sport, archery. Now, while I know there are many more sports that are more unusual than archery, I've been shooting Olympic recurve for 4.5 years.
Wow.
And was immediately drawn to the sport during Freshers' Fair at the University of Leicester. I saw a bow standing upright on a table and thought, yep, I'm going to do this. Out of the sports societies I signed up to in my first year, I stuck with archery because it gave me the least embarrassing experience during the taster sessions. In dodgeball, I received a ball to the face while shimmying against a wall behind people as I was coming in back from the loo.
Wow.
The impact of the ball knocked the back of my head into the wall. Ugh. In badminton, I thought the president that was standing next to our court and analysing my game with another student was a new student wanting to join in.
Nice.
In ultimate Frisbee, I accidentally threw the Frisbee straight into the team captain's face, causing her nose to bleed heavily.
That's fantastic.
Wow! Nina, you're a walking disaster. Luckily, the athletics club... Sorry, start that again. Luckily, the archery club wasn't full of super athletic people and party goers.
That was very nearly a 1, 2, 3 you did inadvertently there.
Was it?
Yeah, the phrase that you did with luckily got quite kind of...
Lucky!
Exactly.
Luckily, the archery club wasn't full of super athletic people and party goers, and to my surprise, was mostly consisted of chill nerds and video game lovers, which was perfect. Most of the members who, when I joined, were also geologists.
Oh, cool.
That's an interesting correlation. I bought my own bow in 2017 and loved representing our underdog club at the British Universities and Colleges Sport Buckers competitions with my team. I also raised money for the charity Mind by shooting 1,000 arrows in 16 arrows. God, wow. 1,000 arrows in 16 hours.
Well done.
I can't even say the damn thing. Very impressive. With a few breaks during a dawn till dusk event at our nearby archery field, pulling a cumulative weight of 12 tons.
Wow.
Wow. That's a pretty enthusiastic Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
In my third year, my degree performance started to take a toll because I practiced archery almost every day, but it was worth it because I reached the Bucks Nationals and got to shoot next to Bryony Pittman, whose shooting is out of this world and is going to the Tokyo Games.
Wow.
That is really impressive.
That is cool.
I was able to achieve my goal of a 2-1 in my fourth and final year at the cost of my training, but I found a lovely new archery club in the hometown after I graduated, which was nice. And to celebrate getting onto the competitive science... Sorry, what? To celebrate getting onto the competitive scientist training program...
Oh, the STP.
So, wow, okay. So if there's funding available if you're a scientist doing competitive sports. That's really interesting. And somehow ranking first for the respiratory and sleep scientist specialism this year, I bought some new arrows. How much? Are you reading this email with me?
Yes, I am.
So you will know that 12 arrows cost Nina £330.
Crazy.
Good grief. I mean, I know they're very specialist things to make, and they always have been, but bloody hell. To match my higher poundage limbs, I assume that means that Nina's put on weight in her arms, and look forward to shooting them. During the programme, I'll be studying for a part-time master's that will be delivered by Manchester Met University while simultaneously working as a clinical scientist in Stoke-on-Trent. There's also an archery club near to where I'm staying, which totally isn't a factor as to why I chose to do this programme in the North Midlands. Anyway, this is all to say, Nina streams on Twitch. Plays games with archery in them and talks about archery. They are on Twitch as Nina Knox. Wonderful name.
Yeah.
I will link that in the description. I love it when you discover a niche on a website like Twitch or YouTube that you're just like, oh, I've never seen that before. I actually found one recently called, which I'll also link in the description, to a YouTube channel called Animation. Which is all about different aspects of animation and like picking out interesting directors and interesting techniques. As an animation nerd, fascinating. So yeah, I'll link both of those. So Nina Knox on Twitch. And while archery isn't really a spectator sport, I love it so much and look forward to watching the Tokyo Games. I'm not really sure how to end this email, so here are some archery facts that I think are pretty neat. On modern targets, the innermost circle has an X that, with a little imagination, looks like a spider. Therefore, an arrow that hits the X in the dead center of a target is called a spider.
Cool.
If you shoot an arrow right into the back end of another arrow, it's called a Robin Hood. I assume that's been referenced to Prince of Thieves. While it looks cool and is very difficult to achieve, it's actually frustrating as you end up having to buy 2 new arrows.
Yeah, which, as we established, aren't cheap.
Yes. Flaming arrows were not used in medieval times due to their low effectiveness. I believe Lindy Beige did a video on this. The main problem with them was that the speed of the arrow would extinguish the flame. While they were sometimes used to set fire to villages, they wouldn't be used in the battlefield. And lastly, on Facebook, archery equipment is often flagged as dangerous weaponry, so any posts that contain archery buzzwords are taken down automatically. To get around this issue, users wanting to sell equipment give items silly names along with the photographs. The names I've seen so far are great, including pointy sticks for arrows, stick flingers for complete bows, and my personal favourite, hobbit skis for bow limbs.
Hobbit skis.
That's great.
Really good.
Amazing. Best wishes, Nina. 2007, 106 hours. Sorry, 207,106 hours old.
207, 106.
106. Maths. Thank you, Nina. Oh, and there's a postscript here. If I have enough time during the STP, I'd love to make another Wikicast animation and make a compilation of the best bits to celebrate the next Wikicast anniversary or the 100th episode. If any readers out there have any favourite Wikicast moments, let me know in Simon's Discord in the Wikicast channel. Great idea.
That would be amazing.
If you've made it this far through the podcast and you have some favourite moments, they don't have to come from this episode. This is when the whole best of is just this episode, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, put them on our Discord. We have a Wikicast channel. Leave, especially if you can leave an episode and a timestamp to where they happen. Because I edited previously a best of for the first year, I think, of the Wikicast, and we've got so many more to choose from now. So yeah, let us know. I'll put them on the Wikicast channel on the Discord. But thank you so much for that email, Nina. I love learning about niche subjects like this.
Absolutely. Hobbit skis has made my day.
Hobbit skis, classic.
So, Simon, what have we learned today?
Today, Dan, we learned about the Hamilton Island Golf Club, which is actually, despite its name, on Dent Island.
Amazing.
And it's got a par 72 golf course, and that's pretty much it. It looks very nice.
We had a fantastic choral piece of the week.
Yes.
We didn't talk too much about football at all, which I think
we are very measured, but we did talk a lot about the new greatest sport ever invented.
Oh yes.
Plughole Panic.
Yeah, Plughole Panic.
Which needs to be a thing. We are going to put our Wikicast readership into Mortal Kombat.
I will be reaching out to the Memorial Home for Injured Swans just to try and get a partnership set up, so I'll let you know how that goes. And that's all for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice. You can join the Discord, and if you'd like to see our faces, check out our YouTube channel, Spongy and Electric.
Film recommendations, Wikicast favourite moments, and other thoughts on the show can be sent to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. We would honestly love to hear from you.
Join us again for another tumble down the wiki rabbit hole.
And we'll see you next time.
Slip, slop, slap.